What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Life After Lockup Season 4, Episode 45, Blindsided and Divided. Let's get into Brittany and Marcelino. So by far, Brittany and Marcelino is probably my favorite couple that I really want to see win, that I really want to see them work out until the end. We have my other favorite couple is Monique and Derek, but they're my favorite couple because they're a hot mess. Brittany and Marcelino, they're my favorite couple because it seems like that they are one of the realest couples on this show, on this franchise, and they have like real issues. They seem to have like a real life because those kids are real. Okay. They made those children and she birthed those children. So this is a real deal situation. It doesn't seem like their storyline is fake or made up just for TV. And I just really like Brittany. I think she's just a real one. I think she's really down to earth. And I like Marcelino as well. I just really hated him last season when he was cheating on Brittany and trying to hook up with her best friend, etc., etc. So they're trying to get their marriage back on track. And she had moved to Florida from Las Vegas, and Marcelino followed her there because she left by herself. Just her and her kids left Las Vegas, and eventually he followed them to Florida. So they're trying to make it work in Florida, but they are still struggling with their marriage. So they've definitely reconciled, but they're having some major issues. And one of their major issues that they're having is that Marcelino seems to be kind of distant from Brittany. They're not as intimate as they used to be. Brittany will initiate or she will let herself be available to him. And he's just not, picking up what she's trying to put down. It's like he's just not interested. So I never really got to the bottom as far as why Marcelino was not interested in Brittany intimately. I don't know if it was if it's like not old age because he's not old, but I don't know if it was him just getting a little bit older. I don't know if it had issues with him not being able to provide for the family, and maybe that's affecting his performance, because I can see that happening where you feel a little bit emasculated because your woman is the one taking care of everything and you're not contributing as much or at all. Well, he is contributing as far as watching the children, but not contributing financially, not really being a provider. That can affect his sex drive. So I really wasn't sure exactly what was the root of his issue, but there's definitely an issue there, and they're definitely struggling in some way. So when we see them, they want to have a date night. So Marcelino's mother comes over to watch the kids, and they're going to go out, just the two of them, to try to reconnect and figure out, what's going on with them as a couple. They go to a bar and they have, they're playing pool, but you can tell that there's some type of tension between them. Even though they appear to be having a good time, you can tell that there's just something lying beneath the surface with them as a couple. So they go outside to have a conversation, and basically the bottom line is Brittany says that she feels neglected. She says that he's a great father to the children, but he's a horrible husband. She doesn't feel like he's giving her enough attention, that he's able to fulfill her emotionally and fulfill her in other ways. And she's telling him, there's a problem. This is what I'm feeling, and we need to figure out how to fix it. Now, Marcelino, he says that he doesn't like being in Florida. He says that he wants to go back to Las Vegas. And Brittany says, well, you want to go back to Vegas because you want to go back to the casinos. And because Marcelino thinks he's a professional gambler. I don't know how he does as a gambler, but I felt like he didn't do that well. But anyways, he sees himself as a professional gambler. He's addicted to gambling, and he wants to go back to Las Vegas where all the casinos are. And I'm pretty sure there's casinos in Florida as well. So I don't know why he doesn't try the casinos in Florida, but maybe they're not as many. I have no idea. So Brittany thinks that it doesn't matter where we are. If we're together, you should be happy regardless. And if you can't do the gambling thing, maybe you need to try to find something else to do. But he's being like a big baby, and he just wants to go back to Las Vegas, to what he's familiar with, back to the casinos. And I'm pretty sure this is not going to help their intimacy issues at all. So I was happy to see them, but I was also a little bit sad because they're still struggling, and I don't want them to struggle. And Brittany had made up her mind that she was going to work on her marriage. She was going to take her husband back and try to rebuild the trust, because he really betrayed her in the worst way. And I think that a lot of Marcelino's problems is that he probably feels like he's not doing the things that he is supposed to do as a provider. Maybe because he's addicted to gambling. And then also he cheats on his wife, with these randoms, plus her best friend or one of her best friends. And that's what I'm thinking is his issues are. It's like he probably feels like he's lacking somewhere, lacking as a provider, lacking as a husband, lacking as a man. Somewhere he feels like he's lacking. He's not doing his part. He's not doing enough. And I think this is what's leading to a lot of their problems. And I feel like if he was able to be more productive, maybe their relationship might improve just a little bit. I have no idea. Let's get into Taylor and Chance. So Chance and Taylor, they last time that we saw them, she was having her little waiting to exhale moment where she was burning all his clothes because she found out that he was talking to other females on the phone. So they're having an argument about that, and he claims that he's not doing anything wrong. Whoever this Jessica girl is that she found on his phone is just a friend. It's no big deal. Trying to play it off, trying to minimize exactly what she discovered. And I do believe that Chance has been having inappropriate conversations with Jessica and whoever else. I think that Taylor's intuitions are spot on if she thinks that he's cheating on her, because I did not buy his excuse or what his reasoning was. And then she got on his case about deleting messages and deleting stuff on his phone. And he says, well, I wouldn't have to delete them if you weren't constantly asking me questions about who I'm talking to, what I'm doing, and what's on my phone. Then I wouldn't have to delete them. And so he tries to do that whole deflection where he tries to put the blame on her and gaslighting her to make her feel like you're the one with the problem. You're the one who's crazy because you think I'm doing all this stuff that I'm not doing. And if you weren't on my case so much, I wouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z. So he does all that the signs of a typical cheater. You don't take any accountability. You don't admit to anything. And then you try to turn it on your partner and make it seem like they're doing something wrong, or it's their fault, or they're crazy because they're seeing things and accusing you of things that are just not happening. So I do believe that Chance is definitely cheating on Taylor. And so she decides to, but then they kind of sort of make up a little bit, but not really, because you can tell that Taylor was still a little bit upset, but I guess they've decided just to move on. So it's the day of the induction. She's going to have an induction because for whatever reason, she's going to have an induction. And on the day of her induction, before they leave to go to the hospital, somebody comes knocking on the door, and guess who it is? Her twin sister, Bobby. Bobby has returned to Missouri from Arizona. So she says that she just, couldn't stay away from her sister because her sister's about to have a baby and she has to be there. Of course, that's obvious. And then she talks about how things didn't work out in Arizona. Whoever she was seeing, they broke up. And so now she's back in Missouri. So that kind of let me know that the real reason why she was back was because things didn't work out in Arizona. And when she left for Arizona, she talked really big about it. How she was going to go to nursing school, get her life together. She was going to get clean or stay clean. And now she's crawled back to Missouri. Ain't nothing wrong with that, honey. There's nothing wrong with, realizing that, hey, what I thought was going to work out didn't work out. And I just got to start all over. Nothing wrong with that at all. So they go to the hospital. And Taylor now is in active labor. I'm pretty sure they gave her Pitocin to try to, start her labor. Her water already broke, so she's already going through the pains of the contractions. And Bobby was getting kind of antsy because it was Bobby in the labor and delivery room with her. It was obviously Chance, and Bobby and Taylor's other sister was also there. So Bobby was getting kind of antsy. She was like, when is this baby going to come? And I guess because, you just don't know. It could be a couple of hours. It could be another 24, 48 hours before the baby shows up. So Bobby decides to go and says that she'll be coming back later. Now, Chance thought that was kind of rude of her to leave, that she should have stayed throughout the whole thing, but whatever. So Bobby ends up leaving. And Taylor's in active labor. She's in pain. And I kind of felt like her sister should have stayed, because you just don't know when the baby's going to come, and you don't want to miss the birth of your first nephew. So yeah, I think she should have stayed. But as far as Taylor and Chance go, they're having some major problems, and I don't see things getting better after the baby's getting born. After the baby's born, with the stress of a newborn, and then you got the other three kids running around. I don't see their problems improving at all. Let's get into Lindsay and Blaine. Lindsay and Blaine, this was the first time that I was actually interested in their storyline. So they talk about marriage because Lindsay asks Blaine, why was your dad talking about us getting married? And Blaine was like, yeah, I can see myself, marrying you because my dad wants to see us married. So yeah, I can definitely see myself marrying you. Can you see yourself marrying me? And Lindsay was like, well, do you think I would marry you? And Blaine says that's a question that only you can answer. And Lindsay says in her confessional that yes, she could definitely see herself getting married to Blaine. I like Blaine. I really do. I like Blaine. I think that he's just really easygoing, down to earth, normal kind of guy. But I don't know if he's exciting enough for Lindsay, but he might be because he's an ex-con too, so maybe he is exciting enough for her. But I kind of feel like Lindsay might get bored with Blaine, but if she knows what's good for her, I think she should try to give Blaine a chance, a serious chance. So they're trying to get it on, and when she pulls off his pants, she sees that he's wearing an ankle monitor, and she had no idea because Blaine never told her that he was going to choose the house arrest option as opposed to serving 19 years in federal prison. So he didn't tell her that because he had planned to surprise her some way, somehow. But y'all, it was taking too damn long. It was like, Blaine, when were you going to finally tell her? I mean, we're like 4 episodes into this, and you're still talking about, I want to surprise Lindsay. When were you going to tell her? So she sees the ankle monitor. She gets upset because he didn't tell her. And so he's like, surprise, I'm on house arrest. I'm not going to be going to prison. Aren't you happy for me? And no, she's not happy because he did not consult with her about his decision. He made this decision completely on his own. And which shows that maybe he's not ready to get married. Maybe he ain't ready to get married to Lindsay because, if you really saw her as your partner and your potential wife, you definitely would have had a conversation with her before making the decision, because that's a major decision. She's scared to death, worried that you're going to be going away for a very long time, trying to figure out what the hell she's going to do to try to keep you from going to prison. And here you are lolly-dallying around like, oh, I'm not going to prison. I'm just going to do house arrest. It was, Blaine, you should have told her. You really should have told her. So she's upset because he didn't tell her. And she says, this is something that affects the both of us. Because it's one thing for me to be approved to live with someone who has pending charges. It's another thing for me to be approved to live with someone who is an active inmate. Because house arrest means that you are still a prisoner. You are the property of the state of Missouri Correctional Department or whatever. And you're an inmate. So a felon, an ex-felon, or a felon cannot live with an active inmate. So she's worried about how this is going to affect her probation, which in turn, how is it going to affect their relationship, their living situation. It's just really messed up all the way around. So at least if he would have consulted with her, that maybe she would have talked to her probation officer to see, is this permissible? But on the flip side of all of this, the other option was him going to prison. So even though I understand why she was frustrated that he didn't tell her that he was going to choose a house arrest, I totally understand that, why she would be upset about that. But then again, can you kind of bring it down a couple of notches, Lindsay? Because what else did you want him to do? Why can't you just, so it's going to affect whether or not y'all can live together, because you may not be able to live with someone who's an active inmate. But the other option is him going to prison. So it's not like there was a third option that she could have convinced him to take. You know what I mean? So just relax, Lindsay. Please relax. I mean, she really flies off the handle really quickly. Just chill out. Talk to your probation officer or your parole officer, whatever the hell they're called. Talk to them. And if you have to move out, then you have to move out. If you have to leave, then you have to leave, or he has to leave, or whatever. If you can't live together, you can't live together. But that doesn't mean that you can't still have a relationship with one another. So I don't understand that at all. Or does it mean that she can't see him at all? She can't be anywhere near him for the next 3 years, because that's how long he's going to be on house arrest. Yeah, Lindsay was pissed. To some point, unnecessarily so. But yeah, I kind of get why she was mad. Moving on to Amber and Puppy. Because y'all remember the Pound Puppies from the 80s, right? Those little stuffed dogs and cats. And they always looked, they're from the pound, right? They were like living in a pound. And so they're always so sad and gloomy because nobody wanted them until you bought them, right? The little stuffed animals. So Amber and Pound Puppy. Puppy leaves her mother's house. She was there with Eric. So she tells her mom, when Eric conveniently went into the bathroom, she was able to tell her mom everything that's been going on between her and Eric, that Eric is cheating on her with his ex-wife. The ex-wife even called Puppy on three-way to let Puppy hear the conversation between the ex-wife and Eric, where they talked about being together intimately and they're actively seeing each other. And so he's cheating on her. So she tells her mom all of this. And of course, her mom was like, you don't need this. Get out of this damn relationship. And Puppy acts like, she's got nowhere to go and no one to help her. That's why she's still there with Eric. But you have an entire mom who has an entire house. So what's going on? So her and Eric leave her mother's house. And on their way home, they start arguing really bad in the car. And it gets so bad that she pulls over. And when she pulls over, she makes it look like she's about to get out of the car. So he gets out of the car and he thinks that they're going to tell the crew, the camera crew, just to leave him alone, just to go ahead and leave because, they're having this argument. But while he's outside approaching the car that has the camera crew, she's still inside the damn car. And so she slams her door shut again and she takes off in his car. It would have been so interesting if she kept the car or if she disappeared with the car, but he probably would have called the cops on her and reported it stolen. But no, that's not what happened. The next time that we see Puppy, she is coming to her mother's house the next day with all of her stuff, just kind of thrown into her friend's truck. And she's going to be staying with her mom for a while until she gets back on her feet because she's leaving Eric. She called Amber to come over. Amber came over. So Amber and Amber and her mom are having a conversation with her about her relationship with Eric. And they're like, so what's the future? And she's like, well, as you can see, I packed my stuff. So obviously I'm not going back to him. And they're kind of like, that's what you always say. But then you always end up back with them. And she makes it seem like this time it's for real. She's really going to stay away from him. She says that she still loves him, has feelings for him, but it just can't work because he's with his ex-wife. And so, Puppy's always something. There's always something going on with Puppy. By the way, when she showed up at her mom's house, her mom was like, are you okay? And she goes, yeah, I'm just really sad. And when she said that, I was like, what else is new? Do you really have to say that, Puppy? We know you're always sad. You're always depressed. You're always upset about something. I have yet to see Puppy happy. I think she wasn't even happy when she thought she was going to be with Amber. I don't think she was happy then because Amber really didn't want to be with her. I'm just like, Puppy, get a grip. Take a hold of your life. Take control of your life. Start making decisions that are going to lead you to happiness. You can make it happen. Get a job. Be productive. Figure something out. Start a podcast about life after prison or something. Please, Puppy, get a grip. Take control. Smile once in a while. It's always something with Puppy. I mean, even Amber found a way to be happy, but not Puppy. And even when she was with Eric, she wasn't happy because they were struggling with money, or she thought that he was cheating on her. He wasn't coming home, wasn't spending any time with her. And then the worst thing that could have happened to her, she got pregnant, lost a baby. That made it even worse. It's just like, damn, Puppy, please take control of your life. Do something. Go to a circus. Go to an amusement park. Do something fun instead of just sitting around, vaping and smoking, thinking and talking about Eric all the time, and only concentrating on the things about your life that are not going right. Moving on to Eris and Cameron. So Cameron's supposed to be out there looking for a damn job. And Eris seems hopeful. Once again, she sends her daughter away. Okay, she sends her daughter away to go back to her friend Priscilla, because Priscilla was watching Lena when Eris was over there in Ohio with Cameron, and then as soon as they came back to Florida, Lena was still with her friend Priscilla. Then I guess Lena came back for a hot minute when they were on the beach, and then she went right back to Priscilla. So I'm like, Eris, are you paying Lena child support? Because it seems like she is taking care of your child more than you are, from what we've seen in the season so far. Your daughter is with Priscilla more than she's with you. And you made a big deal about Lena and Cameron meeting and getting along and liking each other and trying to make their relationship work. But Cameron doesn't even have a chance to get to know Lena because you're always sending her off to Priscilla's house. Are you paying her child support? Because right now Priscilla and you are co-parenting Lena. Priscilla's the other parent, the co-parent. Anywho, so Lena's gone to Priscilla's, and Eris thinks that Cameron's out there looking for a damn job. But where is Cameron? Is he out there pounding the pavement looking for work? No, he's in a damn studio. He spent his money on some studio time because he wants to record a song. You know, he wants to drop them beats. And so he's in the studio all damn day and all night recording music. And Eris is constantly calling him, blowing up his phone. He keeps on putting her on ignore, not answering, not responding, nothing. So when he finally comes home, hours later, she's already pissed off because after a while, his phone stopped ringing and it went straight to voicemail. Her calls went straight to voicemail. Now, nothing can piss off a woman more than when she's trying to get a hold with her man. And in the beginning, it's actually ringing, but he's not answering. And then after that, it goes straight to voicemail. That will get a woman heated. Okay? Heated. So here he comes home from the studio. And she's pissed. So she's like, where you been? He's, at first, I don't think, did he want to tell her at first? I don't know. But obviously he's been drinking because she could smell the alcohol on him. He tells her, I've been at the studio. And she was like, I thought you were looking for a job. He's like, this is my job. This is my career, or whatever he said. So they're arguing about that because she's like, I need you to get a job. And he tries to explain to her, this is what's going to lead to money. At the end of the day, you want money. So me making my music, I don't know how exactly, but him making his music is going to lead to money. So she needs to just chill out and let him do his thing. She ain't trying to hear that. So they're arguing. She kicks him out of the damn bedroom. And he's really upset. He goes back downstairs and she's got like a decorative frame on her wall that says family. So he takes it and he breaks it. He's pissed and probably drunk too. And I'm thinking to myself, what's the problem, Cameron and Eris? This is what y'all were rushing to. Y'all were in such a rush to get married that y'all got married, or he proposed to her in front of the damn detention center because they were in such a rush to get married and to get him to Florida with her because that's the only way that he could leave Ohio is if he was married and was moving to another state to be with his wife. So they do all of the welcome to married life, Cameron and Eris. Welcome to married life. This is what y'all were breaking y'all's legs rushing to get to. Is it fun over here yet? Moving on to Sarah and Sean. So Sarah has been taking her daughter to go see her dad, Anthony, behind Sean's back. And for whatever reason, Sarah has been very distant with Sean, which makes me think, is she kind of developing feelings for Anthony? Because before Anthony came into the picture, she was all up. She was like, really interested in Sean. She was trying to make things happen with him. She got that damn swing, just trying to make it happen. But he was the one that was resisting her because he'd rather play video games. So now the tables have turned. Now he's interested and she's not. And so he's trying to figure out what's wrong. I don't understand what's wrong with you. You don't want to be with me. You changed your hair. You're trying to get breast augmentation surgery. Like, what is tea, sis? What is really going on here? And so she finally tells him that she's been taking her daughter, Abby, to go see her real dad, Anthony. And so even though she's explaining to Sean, Abby, seeing her real father, letting them reconnect, wanting them to have a relationship. He wants to be a part of her life. Abby, Abby, Abby. He doesn't hear Abby. All he hears is Anthony, Anthony, Anthony. And he's like, oh, so that's what it's about. You're going to see, you're going off to go see another man, another man, another man. You're trying to make something happen with Anthony. He didn't hear anything about Abby at all. And so she's like, no, it's got nothing to do with that. This is about my daughter and her father reconnecting. And so Sean said, well, if it's as innocent as that, why didn't you just tell me that that's what you were doing? And she says, because you were going to act like this. And so he's like, I'm acting like this anyway. So what's the difference if you told me then or you told me now? But she should have told him. She should have told him up front. This is your husband. I don't know why people get married and they don't even understand the concept of having a spouse and the concept of marriage. If you can't confide in nobody else, you can at least confide in your husband. And if there's really nothing going on, girl, you should have told him from the beginning what was going on. That you were taking your daughter to go see her dad, and then introduce Sean and Anthony to one another just to let everybody know that everything's on the up and up. And Anthony can have his delusions of, I'm going to get Sarah back and Sarah will always be mine. Fine, whatever. But then the fact that you were upfront with Sean about what was going on, it would have made it, Sean would not have felt threatened by Anthony, but now he does feel threatened by Anthony. And so he's connecting the lack of intimacy, the change in her appearance, her wanting to get bigger boobs. He's equating all of that with she's doing this for Anthony because she kept this whole thing a secret. Just absolutely wrong. She should have told him. She should have told him. As much as we don't really care for Sean and we think that he's weird as hell, that's the man she chose to be with. That's the man that she chose to be her husband. So she should have told him. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.